Hey everyone! Okay, we're going to jump in and we are going to turn this layout into actual code. And wow, we are entering now the Wild West of web design and layouts because everything's changing right now. You've been taught floats, you've become familiar with floats. And floats is using majority of the web pages right now use the technique of floats to lay out their pages, and they use floats with what I'm about to show you, which is a grid framework, which is not the same thing as CSS grids. I know this is confusing. Just to reiterate, right now we're just going to use all the things you already know. We're not going to get into anything new. CSS grid, in quotes, okay, as an official thing, these are brand new properties within CSS. We're doing it the way where you take what you already know and you create sort of a structure through a certain method. Hopefully it'll become clear. Okay, so you're up to this point right now. We've sketched it, we've done a wireframe, and now we're ready to make all these boxes actual HTML elements on a page. So let's just talk about, before we do anything, we're familiar with how this stuff works, right? We've used a 12-column grid here. So we know if we make a bunch of boxes with floats, we can get them to all line up correctly if we give them the proper widths. Okay, so here, this is a 4-column. This will be a 4-column div, basically, and this will be a 9-column div. So when we go into our code, we're going to, probably create a class named logo. Just write some pseudocode up here. We're probably going to do something like this: logo, and then a closing bracket, and then we're going to say width, and then we're going to have to give it something, and we don't want to give it hard pixels because we're smarter than that, and we know that'll look like crap on a phone or on an iPad. So we want to give it a percentage. So we have to figure out what percentage of this whole thing is the thing right here. Okay, obviously I'm not a math person, so you can't see me right now, but I'm pulling up my calculator and I'm going, okay, that's 4 columns. It's 12 columns divided by 12 equals, okay, 33.33%. And you might be saying like, oh, come on, really, 0.33? Why don't you just say 33? Well, if you have a whole bunch of things all lined up together and you keep rounding down the whole time, at the end, you're going to come out a little bit short, and your edge isn't going to line up. So go as far as you can. I've seen people go much further than 2 decimal points. So, and then, okay, over here, we're going to have to, after we do that, and of course we're going to float them so they go side by side. To this one, this is 9 columns. So once again, here I am with my calculator. I'm going, is that 9? No, that's 8. So that's 8. 8 divided by 12. Oh, I guess I could have figured that out, right? 66. I'm an artist. What do you want? 66.6%. Okay, great. And then I guess this one's pretty easy, right? Because that one's the nav bar there is just going to be 100%. What's this header going to be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, once again, calculator. 7 divided by 12 equals, okay, the width of that, when we finally get around to it, is going to be 58.33%. Okay, this hopefully seems a little annoying and convoluted to you, and that is the whole point of doing this. Oh wait, this should have said tagline. Sorry. The point here is that why should we have to go and calculate all these things? isn't there an easier way? And that's where the grid comes in. So one of the advantages of using the grid, besides aesthetically holding our design ideas together, is that we know that one column is always going, no matter what size the page is going to be, one column is always going to be 8.33%. We know that 4 columns is always going to be 33.33%. And we're going to have so many divs on here, and you're probably going to have multiple ones that are 3 columns. So why not create a class that'll just handle all this for us ahead of time, and we won't have to do it more than once. So let me jump over here, and I'm going to do something with a, here we go. So as an example, ignore that. I created a hypothetical situation where, let's say I'm designing something for a 6-column system. Yes, I do. So I went ahead and did all the calculations ahead of time. Span, I'm calling them span 1, span 2, span 3, span 4. And what span means is make, now this is great, and it spans 6 columns, and 2 columns. You know, if I were doing 12, I would make do a box more that spans calculations 3 there. Make a box that spans 4 columns, and it's all calculated, so I can reuse this over and over again as I write my HTML. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say div, and then I want this div. I also have a little style here to make it orange and float it and all that. So let's turn the float off for a second. Let's say this div I'm going to, well, yeah, obviously, that's the automatic. Class equals span 1. I only want to span 1 column. Cool. All right. So I didn't have to type any particular extra code to get it to do that. Here's another. Let's do this one underneath it, span 2. Okay. Span 3. Okay, do you get where I'm going with this? Hear me? Span 4. So we have all these classes that we can use over and over again to create the layout that we want. Now the design we're doing over here is 12, right? 12 columns with all my junk on there now. So we're going to have to, you know, obviously that's more calculation, but there are other things we need to add to this code because, I mean, we don't have any. What if we wanted some gutter widths? Oh, let's put that float back in there so we can see what's going on. So we can't really see what's going on. And if we added margins, well, because of the box model, even if it were a 1 pixel margin, it's going to break everything because of the box model. So then in our code, we need to go in and account for a margin with a percentage that we would have to deduct from the blah, 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 blah. You can do all that yourself, but because of the beauty of the internet and the altruistic world we live in right now, there's all these people that have come up with different grid systems already written for you. The CSS is all there, and you can just download them, link to them. It's fantastic. So let's say just search for CSS grid framework, and a whole bunch of stuff comes up. I've used some of these have a lot of features to them. Some of them are very, very light. This one right here, responsive grid system, is very light and easy to use. And you can either copy and paste the code, or you can download the CSS files and link to them on your own. You can even customize it. A lot of them do this. This isn't terribly unique. I want an 8 column and I want really wide margins. And then I calculate it, and it says, here you go. It's going to look like this, and here's the code that you need to make that happen. There's one. I grabbed one. This is another one. It's already up on CodePen, so it's easy to work with. Where basically they've just created classes that just size everything for you, and then you can go in and add your own code to create the layout that you want. And then the important thing with these, as with any frameworks, is that you just need to remember that someone sat down, and these are classes. They invented all these classes. They wrote them out. They had to choose names for them. So you have to go, read their documentation so that you can understand what classes mean what, and you understand why they named each one what they named it. Because, like, for example, this one says span 1 of 3, and when I did mine, I said just span 3 or span 1. And let's see, this guy uses 2 instead of span 2 or span 2 of 12. He just says 2, and he wants you to put it in this class as well. This is just specific to each framework. You just need to pay attention to how they want you to write it. But it's usually pretty simple, and once you get used to it, it makes your life so much easier. So let's say we were going to go with this system right here. Let's just jump in right here I'm going to hit fork. And let's say we use this just the way it is. There's all the styles we need. And I'm just going to start making a framework based on this right here. So starting with logo, title, tagline, let's start with the first line. We've got the logo title div is 4 columns, and then the tagline is 8. Okay, so how would we do this? Let me get rid of a lot of this. We'll leave 1 row. This framework happens to have the structure of incorporating rows as well. So every time you get to the end, 1 and 11 is 12. You can't fit anything anymore. It has you start another class with row. And that takes care of certain margin problems that you want taken care of. So, but in this case, we're going to do, what was it, 4? Oh, no, type out the word 4, sorry. And they have columns, plural. He's very correct, isn't he? And then this would be 8. Okay, 1. Okay, that's not really what we want. We want logo. And this one is what? The tagline. Logo, tagline. Look at that. We got our first row. I mean, this is just the structure. Okay, we got our first row. Awesome. Boom, boom. 2 boxes down. What's next? There we go. Let's add the nav bar now. Let's see. Okay, nav bar, easy breezy, 100%. Now we just need to pay attention to this framework right here. They like us to put things in rows, so we are going to do what they say. Div.row. And then inside of that, we're going to have a div. And we're going to give it a class of, well, all the way across, 12 columns. Okay. And then let's just type in nav right there. Excellent. And now we go back here. Let's look at our page. Now we're hitting something a little bit trickier. And what we need to pay attention to here is, what do we know about floats, right? We've got two different sections we need sort of butted up against each other. This one and this one here. And because they have things inside of them. Hey, you gotta really... they've got things inside of them. And so really, first thing we need to deal with is making these 2 main sections first. This thing floated by this thing afterwards, and then we can fill them out with other stuff. So let's first, okay, this main area right here, main area, 7 columns, and this one's 3. Now we've got these side ones here. Now some frameworks come with a special class that you can add on that'll allow you to push things over. Sometimes it's called a push, sometimes it's called an offset. Or you can just make a little spacer column right there. I'm just going to throw in a spacer column because for the sake of this tutorial, I don't want to go digging through the documentation. So for this new area, I'm going to say div row again. And then inside of there, I'm going to say div, and I'm going to give it the first one just a 1 column nothing. 1 column nothing. 1 column, there it is. And then the next one, the main section was 7. It was 7 columns, right? Okay, div class, class equals 7 columns. Remember, these are not CSS specific things. These are classes that come with this specific framework. Okay. Main area, let's call that. And then the next one, div class equals 3 columns. And this is the sidebar. Beautiful. And then we're going to need 1 more of these. I'll just paste that in there as just a bumper. Again, we could there might be a better way to do that. And then if we go back here, boom, boom, and really just what's left in our main structure, not looking at all the detail inside, is the footer. Let's just do that. Make another row because we've finished that one. Div.row, and then inside that row we'll say another div, and we'll give this one a class of 12 all the way across, 12 columns, and we'll call it footer. Okay. There you go. Boom. This is the main structure right here. Once you have this going, you're in a really good position to just start filling these. Now you just go into the main area. Where is it here? Main area. Just break this up. Now here's where you put your article and your main head and your meta, and all the stuff goes in there. You just nest it inside of that one. Same thing with your sidebar. Where's the sidebar? Sidebar right here. Open that up. Now right here is where you put your social media widgets. They go inside of that, and everything will be organized inside that structure. So this is what I'm talking about a grid system, or a grid framework. Grid system, grid frameworks. You can create your own. You can go grab one that's been created by other people. I do recommend that because of all the margins and padding and things like that you have to deal with in borders. That makes it a lot easier. So search out one that makes sense to you. I hope this helps. The next video will be doing pretty much the same thing, but using the actual CSS grid properties that are now available to us. And I'll see you in class. Email me with any questions. Have fun.